Welcome, seekers of hidden knowledge, to the mystical realm of the occult. Delve into the secrets of the universe as we journey together into the enigmatic world of ancient wisdom. Brought to you by your guide through the shadows of enlightenment, Wisdom Rocker. Uncover the mysteries, unlock the power, and journey with us as we explore the hidden depths within the pages of forgotten scrolls and ancient texts. Prepare to embark on a journey beyond the ordinary, where wisdom transcends time and knowledge is your greatest ally. Welcome to Wisdom Rocker. Prepare to awaken your inner sage. In this video, we will be uncovering the wisdom within the chapters of
The Theosophical Seal, a study for the student and the non-student, by Arthur M. Kuhn, with an introduction by James S. Perkins. This book is dedicated to all searchers for wisdom. 1958. Chapter 4. The Square and the Number 4. And the City Lieth Foursquare. Revelations 21:16. The first impression we get when we come to consider the square and the number 4 is that we have stepped down into another world. I say step down, for our minds have been dwelling in imagination upon a high plane of spiritual speculation. The symbol of the point, the line, and of the triangle dealt with the world of spirit, that which Plato called the noumena. Those thoughts relative to divine things lifted our attention to a world of law and causation above and beyond the physical. But when we come to consider the square or the three-dimensional cube, we come down into the world of things and events round about us. We get a similar impression of down-to-earth stability when we think of the number 4. The square and the number 4 have been linked together in ancient symbolism, and together or separately, always have reference to mundane, in contrast to spiritual matters. This is not to say that the number 4 and the square refer to physical things only, to the exclusion of non-physical or spiritual ideas. If the emphasis is upon the physical world, there is yet a definite, though subtle, suggestion or allusion to a noumenal or ideal world. This relationship is something akin to that of a solid object to its image in a mirror. The reflection may not be a reality, but it is the image of a reality. One is reminded of Plato's cave allegory, in which the shadows upon the wall seemed real to those who cast them so long as they kept their eyes upon them, yet were discovered to be unreal the moment they turned their eyes to the light which came through the cave's opening. In general, we may conclude that the symbol of the square or the cube and its numerical sign, the number 4, alludes to the realm of manifestation rather than to those causes and forces behind manifestation. They refer to the form or body rather than to the indwelling life. They symbolize the universe, not in a physical sense only, but as relating to its laws and activities rather than to an indwelling spirit or an overshadowing creator. And yet we see implied in this symbol a state of being which is surely beyond the physical, a state which has its reality in the subjective, rather than in the objective world. We sense in the square a kind of mental or spiritual prototype towards which the present and imperfect state of things is evolving. There is thus implied in this symbol an objective world in which is included man and his entire social and political structure that is in the process of evolving toward, or of approaching, an ideal or subjective state of being, which is perfect and permanent. In connection with this idea, we recognize the phrase utopia, or the New Jerusalem, or even the kingdom of heaven. Students of Masonry will recognize the recurring allusions to the square in the teaching and rituals of its degrees as referring to that state of perfection, which is the ideal of human character and of society as a whole. We perceive in the Masonic apron of white lambskin with its triangle over the square the thought of man's spirit as being above and in control of his physical nature. We are reminded that his soul is master of his personality. Here the square represents the pattern of purity and rectitude, of justice and brotherhood, which is the sign of the ideal man, the true master mason. The 4 beasts. Biblical allegory abounds in references to the square and the number 4. The one which appeals most forcibly to the imagination is the reference to 4 beasts which appears in the Books of Ezekiel and Daniel and in the Apocalypse. These beasts are variously described as having 4 sides, 4 faces, 4 wings, etc., and with such similarities as necessitate a common interpretation. In the Book of Ezekiel chapter 1 we read that out of the midst of the whirlwind, the cloud and the fire came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And every one had 4 faces and 4 wings. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and they 4 had also the face of an eagle. The account in the book of Daniel varies somewhat in its imagery. 4 great beasts came up from the sea. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. a second like to a bear, and another like a leopard, which had 4 wings and 4 heads, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. Daniel 7. In the book of Revelation we read, in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had a face as a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. Rev. 4:6-7. We note that the 4 beasts of Revelation are identical with those in the book of Ezekiel. What mysteries these symbols conceal, only a seer or a prophet might fully understand. It is with extreme humility that we attempt even to suggest an interpretation, but what we do suggest has significant bearing upon our immediate study. Some Bible students have interpreted these 4 beasts as the 4 writers of the Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It is possible that this idea may have been the inspiration behind the architecture in many churches where the likeness of a bull, a lion, an eagle, and a man appear at the 4 corners of the altar or sanctuary. While this theory could conceivably explain the 4 beasts in the vision of St. John in Revelation, it could hardly be true of the Ezekiel story, which occurred some 500 years before the 4 Gospels were written. So we must look elsewhere for their real interpretation. The 4 signs. Half buried in the sands of Egypt lies a strange monster made of stone. For how many centuries this creature has kept silent watch before the Great Pyramid of Gizeh, only the imagination can fathom. This beast in stone has the body and paws of a lion and the bust and face of a man. The purpose of this famous Sphinx is one of the enigmas of the ages. Obviously its destiny is linked with that of the Great Pyramid itself, which was built as the tomb, not of Khufu or Cheops as was formerly supposed, but of Osiris, lord of the celestial world. It is now known to have been a temple for the ancient Egyptian mysteries. Its 4 triangular sides rise from a square base, and it was known as the Temple of Light. Sphinx-like animals have been uncovered by archaeologists in Greece, Assyria, and Phoenicia. These were usually carved on walls or at the entrance of temples, suggesting some religious significance. Astronomers have divided the sidereal universe into 4 quarters, with the zodiacal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn at the corners or cardinal points. Early Egyptian and Chaldean astronomers, however, placed on their calendars the constellations of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius as occupying these cardinal positions. It is an astronomical fact that due to the gradual shifting of the Earth's pole, the equinoxes change 30 degrees in approximately every 2,150 years. The following quotation from The Secret Doctrine by H.P. Blavatsky places the date of the change above mentioned at about 3100 BC, when the Akkadian calendar was arranged and the Akkadian months were named. The sun was not, as now, in Aries, but in Taurus. The rate of the precession of the equinoxes being known, we learn that, at the vernal equinox, the sun was in Taurus, and again we read in the same work, 4 beautiful stars constellations were placed as guardians at the 4 corners of the world. These 4 stars were, of course, the 4 constellations Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. It will be noted that in many of the older zodiacs the sign Scorpio was replaced by Aquila, Latin for eagle, so we have here represented in the heavens at the 4 angles the bull, the lion, the eagle, and a man. The 4 angels. We can hardly assume, however, that the writers of these biblical allegories merely had in mind subtle allusions to astronomical constellations. Surely in their references to 4 beasts, 4 horns, 4 wheels, full of eyes, etc., there was hidden a more profound significance. For some hints as to the meaning of this mystery we must turn to the ancient esoteric records as gathered and interpreted by H.P. Blavatsky in The Secret Doctrine. We find many allusions to 4 regents of the 4 corners of earth too. The rulers of the north, south, east, and west, and to 4 winds or forces of earth, these rulers or regions. We are told are 4 great angels or devas who act as agents of God, and not only manipulate great cosmic forces, but also carry out his laws of justice in the minutest detail in the races of men. In Eastern esoteric philosophy they have been called the lords of karma, who administer the laws of cause and effect, of action and reaction, on every human level. They are the 4 beasts before the throne in the book of Revelation, full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night. The Church refers to them as the recording angels who record the thoughts and deeds of men and of nations in the book of life. This description, of course, implies that nothing is too great, or too small, or yet too hidden to escape their eternal vigilance. The thing which is significant to this study, whether we consider these 4 beasts as the 4 cardinal signs of the zodiac or as the 4 regions of the earth, is that they are quite definitely associated with the universe in its external manifestation, with the physical world and its laws, and with the actions and relationships of its inhabitants. We may therefore draw 2 conclusions. First, That 4 is the number which is the sign of all mundane things, that is, pertaining to earth or matter, and second, that the square, symbol of stability and solidarity, as well as being Earth's geometrical counterpart, is its goal and symbol of perfection. They are number and symbol of man as an outer manifestation of an inner and spiritual reality. The Tetrakytys of Pythagoras. We call to mind a few of the many witnesses to the idea that both nature and man are essentially fourfold. There are 4 seasons of the solar year, 4 quarters of the day, hour, and minute. There are 4 cardinal points of the compass. The circle is divided into 4 segments of 90 degrees each. The early Greek philosophers taught that there are 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Science classifies the matter of the physical world into 4 states: solids, liquids, gases, and ethers. In nature, there are the 4 kingdoms: mineral, vegetable, animal, and human. Man as a personality may be looked upon as fourfold: the physical body, the etheric double, the emotional body, and the mental body. Pythagoras expressed this same idea in his famous Tetrakytys. This is a triangle in which were placed 10 points, yods, or numbers from 1 to 10, so arranged that there were 4 along each of the 3 sides within the triangle and 1 in the center. On whichever side the triangle stands, there are 4 points at the base, representing man's the Tetrakytys of Pythagoras lower quaternary, while the rows of 3, 2, and 1 above type his threefold spiritual nature. We may easily see that the Pyramid of Gizeh, the Tetrakytys of Pythagoras, and the Masonic apron are adaptations of the same symbol of the 3 and the 4, or the triangle and the square. A few thoughts, in passing, on the formation of the number 4 and the square. With pencil and paper we make a simple experiment. Upon the diameter of a circle representing manifestation we construct a triangle representing spirit. Next, in the lower half of the circle, with the diameter as base, we construct with dotted lines an inverted triangle, as representing the reflection of spirit and matter, and we have a square. Dr. F. Homer Curtis writes, "The square is generated not only by the reflection of the Trinity in matter, but also by uniting the 4 ends of the cosmic cross." Geometrically, the figure 4 is formed by joining the right arm of the cross with the upper apex. The 4th letter. We turn our attention now to the 4th letter of the alphabet, D, Hebrew Daleth, Greek delta. It is not at first too evident just what is the association between this letter and the number 4 and the square. In shape, it might be imagined that the capital D resembles a square. But this, it would seem, is a superficial likeness. To discover the real association between letter and sign, we enter the realm of metaphysics. In the illustration above, we saw the lower triangle in the circle as being a reflection or objectification of the upper triangle. This idea of the lower being a reflection of the higher is definitely suggested in the Hebrew Daleth. Daleth contains 2 thoughts, one of division, the other of nourishment. We see all manifestation as in a process of continuous division, and, as part of this dividing process, there is the idea of an inner replenishment or nourishment, as from an inner and inexhaustible source. Hence, this symbol Daleth has been sometimes referred to as the cosmic breast. Faber Dialivit, in his great work, The Hebraic Tongue Restored, says of Daleth it appears that in its hieroglyphic acceptation it was the symbol of the universal quaternary, that is to say, of the source of all physical existence. As symbolic image it represents the breast, and every nourishment and abundant object. As grammatical sign it expresses in general abundance born of division, it is the sign of divisible and divided nature. Every idea of abundance and division, of propagation, effusion, and influence. Its arithmetical number is 4. On first thought it would hardly seem that the Greek letter delta, aside from being the 4th letter, contributes anything of value to our subject. Yet a little meditation reveals that it adds color and tone to the same theme. Named after, and shaped like the delta of a river, it connotes that precise point where the river divides, and through that division its waters flow into the sea. We may see in this natural phenomenon the symbol of that mystic point or channel through which the river of life flows outward from its inexhaustible and invisible source to nourish and replenish the whole manifested world. Students of the occult anatomy of man will readily recognize an association with the centers or chakras, wheels within the body, whereby the inner forces flow outward to give life and growth and powers to the human instrument. We may note this symbol on every level of expression as typing that instrument of transition whereby the inner reality becomes an external manifestation. We may see it as the written page or as the spoken word, which translates wisdom into knowledge and understanding for all mankind. It is the instrumentality of art whereby the hidden divine glory is transformed into harmony and beauty in the form of music, painting, sculpture, etc. We are reminded of a most significant fact in connection with the rays, that it is the 4th which is the ray of the artist who sees or hears beauty and harmony upon the inner or divine realms and expresses what his inner senses perceive in the worlds of form. Again, we may recognize this delta symbol in nature in the root, stem and branch upon which grows flower and fruit for the enrichment and nourishment of all life. May we not therefore affirm that God or Spirit in manifestation, whether it be in the sidereal universe, upon our earth, in the kingdoms of nature, or in man himself, is known by the sign of the square and the number 4. In the mind of the Creator, all manifestation exists as an ideal or state of perfection to be in an archetypal world, towards which state all creation is ever moving. It must have been this ideal world, the vision of the world that is to be, that St. John saw as the city that lieth four square.
Thanks for watching the Wisdom Rocker. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.